I just think it's hard to pick these teams without a preseason. So I'm just going by what I saw the first week. After week 4, I'm going to give you more of a better assessment of who's the contenders and who's the B team. And maybe there's a team I don't see coming and I could actually compliment that team. Now we go to the NBA. And I talked about this on my last show. There's this overconfident arrogance that the LA Clippers have. They prance around and walk around and talk like they're 5 or 6-time NBA champion. They haven't won anything. And their franchise has never come out of the conference finals. Their fans were doing a lot of talking. I'm like, wow, you guys got to win something. I've always said that. Win something, I'll give you credit. You don't win anything, I'm going to let you have it. If you run your mouth and you don't have any rings, I'm going to let you have it on my show. And I got to do that. They had a 16-point lead in Game 5, and Denver looked discouraged. They started running their mouths. Montrezl Harrell and Beverly started running their mouths and calling the Nuggets soft. It fired the Nuggets up. Nuggets make this comeback and ended up winning a series that the Clippers pretty much had a stronghold over. Now the Clippers got to win the series all over again. Now they got to come out in Game 6 strong, and they did. They came out they had a 19-point lead. George and Kawhi were cooking. They were cooking. George has 33. Kawhi had 25 points. Lou Williams, 14 points. Green, 11. 19-point lead. And they let Denver off the hook. And Denver made a comeback thanks to Jokic. And the Joker put up 34 points, 14 rebounds, and 7 assists. Had a steal and a block. And I'm going to tell you something. He imposes will, because now what he does, he scores inside. Now the doubles come. He can kick it out to Porter Jr., who had 13. Porter Jr., now because you didn't put the Denver Nuggets away, guys who are struggling are not struggling anymore. Now they're getting their rhythm, like Monte Morris and Michael Porter and Craig, who had a big 3. And then Millsap didn't have the best game, but he had a great Game 5. And Gary Harris had 16, because Gary Harris is wide open because Joker is drawing double teams. And then when he's not drawing a double team, their ball movement was terrific in the fourth quarter, where Jokic hit some big threes. He had 4 threes. He was 4 or 6 from three-point range. If you look at the stat line, the LA Clippers, who everybody bragged saying they're going to win the championship, was outscored 34-19. And this is my problem with the Clippers. Now, I'm going to get to the Lakers later. They took care of business. They came in there like pros, and they had to put their foot on the throat of the Rockets, and they did. That was what they were supposed to do to the Nuggets. You put your throat on that young team. You let them know you guys are not ready yet. We're up 19. This series is over. They didn't. They let Denver get back in the game. Now Denver's got a ton of confidence. And this is the problem with the Clippers. Their leader's Patrick Beverley. It's not Kawhi Leonard. Their leader is very mouthy, and he talks like he's got 4 or 5 championship rings. And they have this arrogant, overconfident attitude that we could just turn it on because we are destined to win this championship. It started when they made fun of Dame Lillard, George, and Beverly, talking about Cancun, and then Lillard embarrassed him on Twitter. Then they were overconfident against Dallas, and then Harold said that racial slur toward Luka. You can't do stuff like that, not in this climate. I'm not giving them a pass. I don't give white people a pass. I don't give black people a pass. You're not supposed to say nothing that racial to Luka, but that's that arrogant, overconfident. And then Doc got to take hits. And Doc has always been a good coach, but there's always been a slight overconfident arrogance with him, even when he was with the Celtics and they had won the one title and they lost the other title. He said, well, we didn't have Perkins, so I don't give him credit.